G'day viewers, how are you? Hope you are well. Yes, I know it seems as though I'm always in this flannelette shirt, but believe me, I'm not. It just happens to be a comfortable, warm shirt that I have that I use to sit around and relax in when I'm at home. So I was just sitting here, relaxing, having a little bit of the libation, and having some thoughts as I normally do. And you know, I'm often thinking through my own life experiences and processes um, of growth in life. And one of the things I was thinking through recently was just, um, in terms of formation of relationships, and how you can sort of gauge um, the quality of the formation of a relationship. And something that I noticed, just from my personal experience, was that you know, it's not about the explicit stuff. I always thought or assumed, foolishly, as the typical, libidinous male, that the kind of penultimate or the ultimate, uh, kind of indicator of um, success in a relationship would be a sexual attraction. How foolish is that? Sexual arousal alone is not, absolutely not, a good or valid indicator for a successful relationship. Yeah, sorry, but that's the truth of it, and that's something I kind of have learned, um, you know, through experiences, I suppose you could say. Uh, you have to step back from that and say, okay, why was I so incredibly sexually aroused when I met this person? And I don't know. I mean, if you had a video camera and you could slow it down frame by frame, you'd probably be able to see why you were sexually aroused. Chances were that this person was doing something explicitly sexually arousing or erotic. So, i.e., they had a plunging neckline which was revealing their cleavage. They were wearing a very tight shirt, which showed the nipples on their breasts, something like that. They had very tight pants on, which kind of gave definition to their nether regions or whatever. You know what I'm saying. They were basically exposing themselves in a sexually explicit way, and that caused you great arousal, although you may not have been aware why. You're just looking at this person who's standing in front of you and you thought, oh my gosh, why am I suddenly incredibly sexually aroused by this person? Why? And you kind of mistakenly believe that that is an indicator that you are attracted to the person, attracted to them, that you have some sort of potential romantic involvement with them, or potential long-term relationship with them. Quite the opposite is true, and you know that to be the case. What this indicates more likely is a very short-term experience with a person. Somebody that's into very frivolous, uh, shall we say, just self-gratifying sexual experiences, rather than somebody who's exploring more long-term relationships where they want to get to know somebody and develop a proper relationship with them. So in stark contrast to that, now that I realize that sexual arousal alone is not a good indicator that a relationship is potentially successful, but in fact quite the opposite. It's probably an indicator that that is a no-go relationship, because that person's only interested in sexual encounters, most likely. Okay? So at the opposite end of that spectrum is the person that inspires completely different things in you. So it's the person that makes you feel like they care about you. Wow, that sounds so sentimental and boring, doesn't it? But it's not at all when you think about it. Because think back to the most important, significant relationships you've had in your life, and that is going to be with your primary care providers, using a psychological term there that I picked up having studied psychology. Primary care providers. So we're talking about mum and dad. That's right. So actually, believe it or not, we are attracted to people who do display traits, characteristics, behaviors, whatever you want to call them. They are people who act like, behave like a primary caregiver. Because it's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for a replacement of that primary caregiving relationship. I mean, I once said this to a friend of mine, when I was studying at university. He said, mate, you're looking for somebody who's your mother. And he scoffed at me, with his English accent. He said, mate, I'm not looking for my mother. I can tell you I am not looking for my mother, I'm not looking for my mother. But he hadn't really thought that through. To be honest, when he admitted it to himself, he probably would have fell for somebody that was like his own mother. Because the one person in your life that displays genuine love and affection for you, it's got to be your mum. If mum doesn't love you, who does? Maybe girls get more affection from their father. That's a possibility. I don't know. I'm not a girl, so I don't have that same experience. Certainly for me, the attachment with my biological male parent fell far short of my expectations of what a father should be. And certainly I never felt that that person really had any genuine interest or cared for me at all. Sadly, but it's true. There were times when I doubted that my mother actually cared for me, because she would say things so often, that it seemed as though she was just monologuing. She was just trying to convince me of something that wasn't true. But I don't know. There's something very compelling about a mother, and you do kind of give in to the overwhelming likelihood that your mother actually does love you at the end of the day, because she did give birth to you. She put up with the pain of you. She cared for you as you were a child. She put in a lot of time and effort. So you've got to appreciate that, haven't you? Really. Mum's time and effort into helping you become the person you are, literally wiping your ass for all those years. Come on. If she doesn't love you, nobody would. Only a mother could love this face, am I right? It's ridiculous. So there it is. So, I mean, if you can find somebody that kind of exhibits those kind of qualities, someone who shows that they actually care about you, then that is an amazing thing. When that moment happens, it's like an epiphany or something. I don't know. It's like a cosmic moment. You think, wow, that person actually demonstrated that they care about me. Wow, that's important and significant. That, to me, is far more powerful than I get an erection because somebody, is flashing their cleavage around. Okay, that is not love. It's more like lust. So these are the kind of things you should look for in forming a relationship. Somebody genuinely shows that they care for you. It's got to be something, it could be altruistic. So they've kind of done something that uh, that they are kind of paying for, and it costs you nothing in a way. It's a selfless act that they've done. Uh, it could be just something that they say that demonstrates that their intentions are to help you in a situation and not to cause you harm. So they've genuinely given you information or advice that helps you. That's caring for you. So the other aspect of it is somebody who can foster a sense of trust in you, or that they can show you that there is, I don't know, that there is the possibility that you can trust people. Because when I was growing up as a child, it seemed like trusting people was impossible. You couldn't put any reliance upon anyone. It seemed like everybody let you down. So, and they did, more or less, largely let me down so often. It was ridiculous. So you do get to a stage in your life when that happens, when you think, gee, I can't trust anyone. There's nobody trustworthy in the world. Trust is just not a thing. I've got to treat everybody with skepticism. I've got to treat everybody like they're a criminal and they're out to take me down. And I'm in this cold, harsh world, which is all just crimson, that hating each other, and that is a very cold, harsh world. So a person that can come along and kind of pull down those walls that you build up, as a person over time in a cold, harsh reality, and is able to kind of reach you at that level and say, okay, you need to, at some point, put some level of trust in someone else. You need to do that. You need to trust someone and build that kind of trust connection, and just see that through and stop doubting, human beings and human nature. I mean, human beings and human nature, unfortunately, is very corrupt. That's what we know from the Bible. But it's not totally corrupt. And we do have the Spirit of God that helps us to do good things. God's Spirit does help us to do that. The Holy Spirit does empower us to do good works. It empowers us to turn away from sinfulness. It empowers us to be godly people, to be not sinners. So it is possible for humanity that is empowered by God, that believes in God, to do good things. And they are trustworthy people. People of God are trustworthy people. The true people of God, the people that have the Spirit, the Holy Spirit of God, are trustworthy people. And you can trust them. And so someone that can inspire that trust in you, that you can reach out, you can trust some people, builds a bridge, it builds a connection, and it's inspirational. And once again, that is another huge aspect to developing a relationship, and saying, okay, this is yet one more indication that this person is taking me in the right direction, and I want to get to know this person better, and I want to build a relationship with this person. And that's the kind of direction you want to go. All the best. God bless. talk to you later.